What's up, everybody? Producer Alec here. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope everyone had a great holiday season. We've really enjoyed putting together the all-time podcast and launching this thing, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have putting it together. Now, we will be back on January 2nd. That is tomorrow, if you're listening to this when it actually releases. Tomorrow, with a brand new episode breaking down all the action from the NFL and everything that we've missed. And then we're going to keep it rolling with new episodes coming out. We just wanted to take a break during the holiday season so that everyone could enjoy some time with their families. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't been sitting here grinding, putting together this episode that's coming out, which is the best moments from 2022. I know we've only had about 6 episodes, but we've had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun, so I've thrown together some of the best stories and some of the best clips. And we're going to make this a yearly tradition that on January 1st, we're going to release the best moments from the year. So I hope everyone enjoys. Peace.
Floating through the air, and my buddies and I one night might have played that video.
Oh shit!
100,000 times. He's cramped up.
Oh shit!
Look alive. We got a cramp in real time. No way.
Real dog. Boys, this is about one sec.
You asked about Vegas, though, Luke.
Yes.
So, kind of piggybacking on what I said earlier, was when you get drafted and you play on a veteran team that eventually wins the Super Bowl, and it was known. Like when we went into the offseason, Michael Robinson, who's now an incredible analyst, was our fullback in a Team Canada. Team Canada. Our fullback and our team captain, okay, one of. And he gave a speech in the offseason where he was like, listen, boys, we lost to Atlanta last year on some bullshit late. I'm going to be blunt. Like, if we don't win the Super Bowl this year, it's a bust. That was what the intention was set in April. Okay. And now all of a sudden you got this team full of veterans. Like everyone wants to talk about Russ and Cam and Sherm, and they should. Our O-line, you think of Max Unger. I think of Breno Giacomini. You know what I'm saying? I think of those Russell Okung. Like these are, you know what I'm saying? These guys, you got to be a football guy. I think of Red Bryant, Clinton McDonald, Michael Robinson. And those are some of the kind of heart and soul of this team. We'll have to get producer Alex to throw some of these picks up later. Those are some good names. Brandon Meebane, we'll throw him up. Brandon Meebane for sure.
Those are football players right there. Those are football names. If I've ever heard football players. Oh. Sometimes you just hear a name and it's like, yeah, that's a football player. That's like that is as football as football gets. So go.
No question.
Let me hear this story.
But I'm the stupid rookie, man, and I understand that. As I should be. I'm the stupid rookie. And I just said, I was not terrified in a way that I couldn't be like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. But I was very aware that if anything came down to a 50-50 mistake between me and an offensive tackle, let's say there's a situation where we have a combo block and maybe it's his fault, maybe it's mine. It's my fault because I'm a dumbass rookie. It's always going to be my fault. And that's how the league works. Well, the league works like that off the field as well. Okay, meaning that if I go to this Vegas party and somehow there's a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 bill, guess who's getting stuck with that? The stupid rookie who just made $90K. And the justification of it is that, listen, you dumbass rookie, just got you a Super Bowl. So you're not going to say shit about picking up this tab because we all know you just made more than that in the Super Bowl. So what did I do? I didn't go. I went the next weekend with a couple of my buddies.
No way.
That's what I did.
There's no way. You didn't want to get you didn't want to get left with the tab, eh? I don't blame you.
A rookie went. Just to let you know, and I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to promote this podcast by dropping names in this pod, but a rookie did go. And I saw him next April. And he told me not yet. And he told me the amount of money that he spent gambling, supplying booze to the party, and stuck for the tab. And I almost puked in April. So let's just say back-to-back wins, baby. Back-to-back Super Bowl into not going to Vegas.
I think the Texans might give the Titans a run for their money this week. But
Game of the week for me. Game of the week.
It feels like I didn't even try to do that, but we just stumbled across it. So yeah, you told me you got Titans Texans circled this week, And it's not because you think Derrick Henry's going to go for $150 and 3 tuds. This game's got a special place in your heart, Luke. Let's tell the people why.
Yeah, this is a sentimental one for me. I'm going to be watching like a hawk, dude. I'm going to be watching like a hawk. And anyone who's listening right here, I want you to take a quick moment and just try and put yourself in this guy's shoes, man. A very close friend of mine, Jordan Roos, I met in Seattle. We're going to get the reel of Jordan Roos in this. Don't play it yet. Jordan Roos is an offensive lineman, and he's an offensive guard. He went to Purdue. He was undrafted, came to Seattle in 2017. He showed up. You'll see a photo of him in a sec, what makes it even better. For those of you who aren't watching live, go on Instagram and type in Creature Man. And that is his IG handle. He walked in with, the Canadians will love this. He walked in. Me and Jimmy Graham are pretty tight this year. Love picking on rookies. And he had, I believe, cinch inseam Lululemon shorts and what I like to call a men's medium Lululemon tank top on. And I went right up to him. I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you? And, of course, he's a rookie. Myself, not that I was anywhere near the fame and glory Jimmy Graham was, but the time I had, played a little bit, I think I was coming off a couple pretty good years, probably in the peak of my career. And we got Jimmy Graham there, who was the best tight end in the NFL. And we're sitting there ripping on him, and he handled it so well. And I'm like, bro, you're not even a human being. You're like a creature. It's the Creature Man. Like, who's this stupid-ass, undrafted rookie? Play the reel, and then I'll tell you why this game is very important to me, and I'm watching it. I hope that some people can get some inspiration. Here's Jordan Roos, the Creature Man himself, from Salina, Texas. Then went to Purdue. There he is. That's a pregame fit for the Creature Man there. Absolute legend. It's gonna keep going. What else we got? I got a feeling there's more coming. Oh, there we go. This is at his wedding. This is at the post the ceremony, whatever the after party is. You got myself and Jimmy Graham stood in his wedding. Yeah, his wedding.
Cowboy had his own wedding.
Yeah, legend. You should have seen the full fit when the ceremony had the shades on, the jacket. It was iconic. The guy, he's a legend, bro.
You look bulky in this picture. Yeah. You look like you're.
That was true wide tight end. Oh, here are the boys getting ready again. We were a little yin and yang. As far as our style, our swagger goes. But a close friend of mine, and I'll tell you a couple funny stories about him in a sec. But going on to why I want to watch this game, and not that this is this type of podcast, it's maybe not the inspirational podcast, but we're going to go there today. We're going to go there, Luke. You're going to let me go there.
Let's do it.
Jordan Roos has been in the NFL for 6 years. He was an undrafted free agent, made our team at a camp. And this was back when you could still do a wedge. So he eventually was on our P squad and then was activated to be on the kickoff return team as a wedge guy. He wore a T-bar face mask. That was in 2017. Yeah, I said it. Okay. He played practice squad up and down. I think he's been released 8 times in 6 years. Was released from Seattle on some wild shit. Not anything he did, just number game. In 2019, I was training with him. He had no team that whole offseason. The dying moment of camp, signed on with the Raiders, went through all camp with the Raiders, was released at the end, still stuck with it. And now you're pushing that like I'm an older guy. They'll give younger guy chances. That year in 2020, he was also in the Patriots for about a month, was released there. 2021 comes around. Bleak situation. Looks like it might be done. He's still grinding. He's keeping his body in shape. He's ready to rumble. Practice squad all year with the Titans. That was year 5. 2022, this man, P squad, I was in touch with him grinding. 6 fucking years, bro. 6 years. He was on the active roster, I believe, for 18 games. I don't know if as many snaps as far as the NFL goes, playing offensive line. This Sunday, he is starting his first game. And again, Luke, where my head goes with this shit is like any sport, any line of work, bro.
Yeah.
6 fucking years. This dude has been grinding, dude. People telling him no. People, nah, bro. P squad guy. Grunt work. Working hard as shit. young guys coming in every year trying to take his job. He's got to compete every single day, every single fucking day, 6 years, not knowing what team he's going to be on next year. He got married, as we just talked about. He's got a kid in that time frame. Like the mental fortitude to come in here and now after 6 years, start an NFL game on Sunday. I couldn't be more excited for him. I don't know if I know a more deserving guy, and I'm going to be watching my boy, bro. I think it's, again, just his whole journey, even coming from Salina, Texas, dude. You're kind of in the mecca of football as far as Texas. And Purdue's obviously a big school, but it's like, how come Texas didn't offer him? Texas A&M didn't offer him. He had to go up to fucking Purdue. Wow, they overlooked his ass. Everyone's overlooked his ass, and he just kept his fucking head down and kept working, bro. And we'll get into some funny shit about Roos in a sec. But that's my 2 cents, bro. I'm very excited. Anybody who's a football fan, tune in. Maybe sauce a guy a tweet. Maybe send him a DM. Be like, yo, good luck in your first start. We're pulling for you up in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, 6 years, is a long ass time. And I just took a look. I was in first year university 6 years ago. That feels like a lifetime ago. So to go through that grind and, like you said, up and down P squads, cut,
on the street for some of it,
to not give up on that dream and to just kind of keep, it's like, okay, I'm gonna be ready. My name's gonna get called. My number's gonna get called. And after 6 years to finally get that, I mean, I'm gonna have to watch it. He's got a fan in me now, and that's a cool story. That's pretty cool.
It's a cool story, and if you haven't been sold yet, here's a couple off the field things about my guy Jordan Roos. It's just electric. He is adamant that the best tasting beer on planet Earth is Bud Light. There is not a better beer. One time we were out, this is in the off season, ordered Coors Light instead of a Bud Light for him and me. And I handed him the Coors Light, and you would have thought I handed him a piece of human fucking shit. And he looked at me and he's like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, you said you want a beer. He said, why didn't you get a Bud Light? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just got a Coors Light, dude. Like, it's the same thing. He explodes. It's the same thing? Are you nuts? Going bizarre. So one of the I mean, Bud Light needs to listen to this shit. This guy's the Mr. Bud Light. And then, I mean, it's insane, dude. He won't drink Coors, nothing else. Next thing I'll say is one of the greatest guys to bring to a restaurant. Because you can imagine, in the off season, sometimes we go to nicer establishments. He refuses to eat anything that is above the palate of maybe a 6-year-old.
Oh,
and what I mean by that is we could go to the nicest steakhouse in Seattle, and he will ask for a hamburger.
Nice.
But if it's a steakhouse, usually it's a gourmet burger.
Yeah.
He just wants cheese and ketchup.
Yep.
I think, Manager Mark, do I have that exact order correct? No lettuce, no tomatoes, no onions, French fries on the side.
This guy's got
cheese and ketchup hamburger in a Bud Light.
What?
Don't matter where we are. Does not matter what city we're in. We could be at the nicest establishment or the worst establishment in town. This guy eats plain hamburgers or / cheeseburgers, steak, rice, green beans, I think chicken tenders and French fries. And that's it. That's it.
And he's starting games in the NFL, dude. I mean,
he can also bench probably close to 600 pounds and squat more. So that's another reason why he's. When we were in Seattle, the coaches would ask him to stop max benching every single week. Like, dude, can you just stop? Like, every day you come in here and you load up the bench press and you put on straps and you bench. And it's like, if he's not doing a 1-rep max, he's doing a 3-rep max. And if it's not a 3-rep max, he's repping out, 315 as many times as he can. And he's probably one of the strongest bench pressers in the NFL.
Is there any song or is there any like sound or something that you hear and it just like takes you back to your playing days? Because like I think about
yes.
I think about the Colts game that I went to, and every third down they're playing the Undertaker's bell, right? And the place just going nuts. So are you like working out or just out and about? You hear a song, and you're just like, oh shit, like what's that song?
Yeah.
Where does it take you? Like,
I'd say there are
curious.
Two for me. One I think will be pretty normal, and then the other one you might be a little bit surprised. But the first one I think of would be "Kickstart My Heart," and the reason every time I hear "Kickstart My Heart" is because in Seattle, every single game that I played there, if we won the coin toss, which I would love to go back. I don't know if we can find the stat eventually. It seemed like we don't pick, right? We're the home team. It seemed like we batted 90% on teams missing. Like it was wild. It was like we'd have a home game. Like they're clearly going to get the coin toss wrong. And they would. And we would always defer because that was how our team was built. That was Pete's MO. And every time it was like, hey, we're going to win the toss. We're going to defer. And he would always, before every single season, Pete would, the first game, would call up, hey, you want to know who sets the tone for this entire team? And he'd be like, first team kickoff, stand up. He's like, this team defines everything that I want us to be this year. I want you to play with your hair on fire. I want you to run down there. If you're the fives, you're causing mayhem. If you're the fours, you're making the tackles. If you're this guy, you're doing that. Play with passion, play with fire, fly down the field. If it's a touchback, it's a sprint to the goal line. And we will time you, and we'll give out like little points, if you will, on a little point chart to whoever gets there first. And then afterwards, we want everybody celebrating touchbacks. Okay. And so you go, as at the time it was called CenturyLink. So I know it's Lumen Field now, but I'm going to call it CenturyLink for the end of this rant that I'm on. Every single game that I played there, you would sit there, we would win the coin toss, we would defer. The place is electric. They would raise the 12th man flag. Okay. And it'd always be like a very cool guest. Didn't always have to be an ex-player, could be whoever, local, hero athlete, could be a local scientist, whoever. Okay. Someone in the community that was like very well known. And then it was like, so the flag's going up. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, place, kickoff teams out there. You got the strength coach sneaking up behind everyone, putting smelling salt in their nose, the little ammonium tablets. Guys are just going nuts. And then all of a sudden it'd be, and the crowd was, that's the beginning of Kickstart. You know what I'm talking about? Do you know Kickstart? You do.
You know what? I don't.
Okay. First, I know it's copyright. I'm just going to play the very first little thing. So no one will know it's Kickstart.
Yeah.
Okay, that noise right there. Did you
hear
that one through?
Yeah.
And you'd sit there, and it'd be like every single 60,000 crazy Seahawk fans on their feet. Usually it's a light mist. You're playing the 49ers. You're playing whoever. The 12th flag just run up, and I wasn't a kickoff guy, and I'm obviously an offensive player, so I'd be on the sideline. And it was like a moment of like the next 3 hours is going to be a fucking epic bloodbath. And it just was like, you were so hyped, dude. Everybody on the sideline worked towards one goal. Like, it was electric. It was absolutely electric. So that would be it.
And what was the second one? You said you had two. You had one that would make sense, and that makes sense. Former Seahawk getting, gets taken back to the home games. Is there what's that second one? I'm a little more curious about that.
The second one was only my rookie year, I want to say. I think they canned it after my rookie, maybe a little bit into my second one. But my rookie year, we would have intros, and the intros would be, or we come out of the tunnel, and they would go, and it would be Bittersweet Symphony. So they'd put like a highlight montage on like the little jumbo screen. I know Bittersweet Symphony wasn't like the most pump-up song of all time. But as a rookie, I remember this in the sense of, especially my first few games, you would sit there and you're in the tunnel, and you'd always hear, like as a kid, like imagine running through the tunnel, right? In the NFL, imagine running through the tunnel in the NFL. And my kind of route to the NFL was never a guaranteed situation. It was never like, when you're out of LaSalle, Ontario, they don't crown you in 11th grade and say, hey, you're going to the NFL.
Yeah.
So when I finally got there, that like moment while we're like waiting, there's cameras everywhere, and they're like, you're out in 30. And Chancellor's yelling, that's too long. That's too long. Let us out. I'm like, holy shit. Okay. And then all of a sudden, my rookie year, that got nothing got me more amped than Cam Chancellor. He's greatest. He's the greatest. Yeah.
That's
he's
nuts.
Screaming at not angry at him, but he's screaming like, that's too long. Let me out. And he was the baddest guy in the NFL. He was finna like somebody out every game. So it's like you knew he wasn't fake either. But anyways, then all of a sudden they would switch and they would just play the beginning of Bittersweet Symphony. So it was like the highlight montage, and they would let the hawk go. So we used to have the hawk that would lead us out first. So it was like this euphoric moment, like, okay, it's all amp, and then you'd hear this. And the hawk would go, and then it'd be like, and you're Seahawks, and it'd be like, I'm like, holy shit, dude. It was like, again, it was kind of hard to like put into words right now. I keep saying like I'm a 12-year-old, but that experience me as a player and as a young player is something that every time I hear Bittersweet Symphony, I think of being in the huddle as a stupid rookie, 23 years old, eventually en route to a Super Bowl team. Like, holy shit, dude, this is wild. So those are the two that really bring me back.
Yeah, I was like, how bliss was that second half of football? You were winning the Super Bowl. You were gonna win the Super Bowl. There was never a doubt about it at that point. You're just going out there and just watching the clock tick away and waiting until the after party in Vegas, I bet.
Yeah, I did go to Vegas, but I went the next weekend. I can tell you that in a sec. I can tell you this will be one I think you'll enjoy. Speaking of gambling, and it was kind of a surreal moment. It was real second half of football. You were just out there, and it was in New York too. So even though maybe MetLife isn't known as like a holy sanctuary of football, just being like kind of, I guess MetLife's in New Jersey, but called a New York Super Bowl. But just kind of being in that, like, man, you're the biggest city in the world. You just were part of a team that beat the living shit out of the best offense in the history of football. It's just a privilege to be a part of that whole process. And it was cool. Like, one of my favorite moments was after the game, one of my boys, his name is Mario, had brought a Canadian flag. And he was still in the stands, and we're all the confetti's everywhere. Strahan brings the trophy by. My dad's on the field. Okay, he's all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I mean, my mom's down there. And I go say what's up to my boys. My boy Mark, who might be overseeing this pod, was also there. He knows. And my boy Mario throws me this flag. And when he's going to throw it, he like crunches it up. And I'm like, there's no way. He's 20 yards away. Like, this thing's going to float 3 yards. I kid you not, Nolan Ryan fastball struck me right in the chest. I'm like, bro, how did he do that? I have no idea. But then it was like, I had a couple photos with the flag on the back. Like, it meant a lot to me, man. It did. Personally, I mean, coming from LaSalle, Ontario, the kind of journey through Rice had a lot of adversity, and be a part of that team, playing, contributing in a couple different ways. And be on that stage was pretty special. It was special for me, man. Oh, there it is. There it is. See? And believe it or not, that's in the lady in the background with the big smile and the camera, not with the actual camera, not the phone. That's my mom right there.
No way.
And the guy beside him is Big Mike. You can't see his face, but that's Big Mike right there. He's the one cracking FanDuel Canada right now. Even Mark puts in surreal moment for the fellas. It was an epic moment. It was that's the young Luke right there.
That's too good. That's all time.
Yeah.
That's all time.
That is all time.
I'm starting to wonder if the game of football is gone by Bill Belichick. No, I'm not. I'm not. That's not how I'm going to dive into that. But we got to talk laterals. We got to talk. What's going on here? With Jacoby Myers yesterday, Rasul Douglas on Monday night. Like, what's with guys all of a sudden? Just these protect the ball. Like, what's going on here?
I don't know, and I would say that Pete Carroll, as far as like creativeness, as far as like guys like being allowed to play freely and kind of not make things up, but like push the envelope a little bit, is probably the most lenient coach in the NFL. And one of the first things he said when he got there is, "Don't ever lateral the fucking ball unless it's a hook and ladder." I don't ever want to see that shit, because the reality is the stats don't lie, and those stats say that if you win the turnover margin, your percent chance of winning this league is outrageously high. If you have a +2, I think it's like somewhere in the mid 80s. +3, and I want to say in the 90s. So the idea that you have the ball and you're going to leave it unprotected for any reason is wild, dude. And there's so many things that can go wrong. This isn't rugby, where that's the way the game's played. The reality is that even if you think, hey, here's a guy, he's running, I'm going to make this pitch. Okay, the way you hold the ball in rugby is you're kind of there ready to throw it off, right? And everyone's looking for it. In football, you got that shit high and tight. So now all of a sudden you've got to like manipulate it into a throwing motion, grip it, turn. Dudes are trying to kill you at this point. So even if you go to pitch it and you get clipped, now all of a sudden it goes on a bad angle. And the last but final piece of this thing is you don't know what the person you're pitching it to is thinking. Again, like I bring the situation up where I'm like, all right, look, let's say you have the ball and you and me are on the same team and you've got the ball and you're fighting for extra yards. The last thing on my mind is Big Ball's belly is about to pitch this shit to me. I'm trying to find a block. So now here I am chugging a heel, boom, 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 and you pitch the ball at me. Even if it's right in my chest, there's a split second where I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And that's when mistakes happen. We saw it with Reggie Bush in the 2006 National Championship. See if producer Alec can get that bad boy clip up. Shout out Pete Carroll going for a three-peat. Reggie Bush making shit up. I mean, you just don't do it. And you certainly don't do it when the game is tied with no time left and you call a draw. You called a draw, bro. You didn't call a hook and ladder. Ramondre Stevenson, that shit is wild. And then he goes to Jacoby, which is even, it's like, hold my beer, boss. You want to pitch it to me?
Bro. Watch this. So how much percentage? Yeah, so for those of you listening,
so hear me out. Can we pause this for a sec? Producer Alec, can we pause it for 1 sec?
Oh.
Can we go back maybe like 10 seconds? The game's tied, bro. This isn't a hook and ladder. When we would run this stuff like, let's say we're down 5 and we want to run a hook and ladder because it's too far to throw a Hail Mary. Okay, it looks like, I can't tell, but you look like Jacoby Meyer at the top. Basically, he would run the hook or is that Aguilar on the bottom here, Devontae Parker? I can't really tell.
Parker, I don't know.
Okay, whoever it is. One of the outside cats runs the hook, and the other guys get in pitch relation. And then everyone else also gets in quote-unquote pitch relation. You might have a couple O-linemen that are like, okay, you guys are going to go lead the charge. But when I say pitch relation, talk to me.
I was going to say pitch relation for the people that didn't play in the NFL.
Behind him. You can't pitch the ball forward. Get behind him. Get to a spot where you're far enough away where it's not a handoff, but you're also close enough where you're not Jacoby Myers throwing it 33 yards across the field.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're a skill guy, get in pitch relation. If you're an O-lineman, try and get in someone's way. Facts. You also don't run a hook and ladder ever when you're tied. That's not a thing. It's not a thing.
No, I could count on like one hand how many times I've been watching football for my whole life, how many times I've seen a lateral in like a tie game. The only times you ever see laterals, right, are near the end of the game, they're losing, there's literally nothing else to lose. It's like, hey, fuck it, we can start lateraling. You see it every now and then where it's like Travis Kelce will flip something like that. But how often are you guys practicing end of game stuff like that quickly? And then I want to circle back here and get
going to this play.
Your thoughts on this. But
Saturdays, tennis shoes.
That's the whole chasing
every
ghost
Saturday
stuff?
In tennis shoes, and it would be one time like, hey, probably won't use this. Saturday is a day I've told us a couple of times on here. You're chasing ghosts, bro. Things you don't think happen. but just in case they come up, let's all just know what to do. And the reality is, hook and ladder is one. We're not going to spend time practicing on a hook and ladder.
Yeah.
Okay. Not at full speed. So it's like, yo, boss, here it is. We're going to go. And I mean, let me rephrase that. You might do it one time in camp, and you're definitely not doing it against your defense because that's how injuries happen on plays like this, weird movement, shit like that. So it's like, hey, here we go. Let's focus in. This is a situation. We're going to call the hook and ladder. Boom. We would do it once a week, and we would always joke because we would throw it to like an O-lineman to walk into the end zone and see if the O-lineman could catch and shit. But again, like you get in pitch relation. Alec, can we fire that back up? I'm sorry, boss. Okay, play this shit. First and foremost, this is not a hook and ladder. It's a fucking draw. There's no time left. Matt Patricia calls a draw, a safe play. It's conservative guy. All of a sudden, what? Pause. Back. I'm sorry. Back to where Ramondre's got it. Bro, look at this pitch. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 dude, 3 behind him, and 1 in front of him that Mike could just come smoke him. This is, bro, I don't even know. Like, to me, if you're going to make this thing, you turn and throw it you zip one to Henry. Like, to make this pitch, play it, this is crazy that this even worked out. This is what I'm saying. Whoa, bro. And he gets smoked. And now it's like Jacoby's like, fuck it. Cue the circus. And you can't really tell. But what do you think Matt Patricia's saying in the background right now? Let's see if we can see his live reaction. Can we rewind it 2 seconds and see if there's any? It's blurry, but there's a shock. There we go. Play it.
Oh, he was like clapping his hands together.
And do you think he's saying stop or get down?
Stop. I would be yelling, get down, get down. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I would be yelling like, hey, like get down, get down, get down. Like I'm like, I don't want to clap for the sake of audio, but yeah, I would be
hands up saying stop. Myers gets fucking drilled there and puts the most perfect. Watch Myers get hit when he throws his shit. 1, 2, 3, boom. See ya. Right in the gym. Oh, got him. See ya. Bro, and like shout out Henry for trying to chase us down. He, must be a big coach's guy right there trying to get us on film, a little hustle play. He threw the ball squarely to Chandler Jones, who then ran over Mac Jones into a touchdown, into the Patriots missing the playoffs. That is fucking outrageous, bro. The only thing I can think of that is crazier than that is Leon Lett. Leon Lett in the snow game when Miami kicked a field goal. If Alec can get that one up too, that to me, the 3 ones that I think of are the Reggie Bush lateral in the national championship game. I think it was 2006, and the Leon Lett blocked field goal to win the game, and then he goes to try and pick it up and he slips. Those are the 3 that I think of that are the worst in football.
Like biggest boneheaded plays, yeah.
And I got to play with Brett Laurie.
Oh.
And when I was playing with Brett, oh my fucking God, was he good at baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think he was a 16th pick in the first round. Dude, we were 18, traveling the country, playing. I think we were in Red Deer when he got drafted. This fucking guy, and I thought I was a pretty good hitter at that age. I'm like, this guy can do everything. And he was, I mean, we went down the Dominican. I don't know if I'll ever see anything like it. And we're 18 years old. Some of the guys probably 17. And we're playing minor league. The Dominican has their own minor league team. We had a doubleheader. And Brett Laurie hit 5 fucking bombs off minor league pitchers. 2 to left, 2 to right, and 1 dead fucking center. It was disgusting, bro.
How jacked was he?
If Naylor was anything like Brett, which I'm assuming they're both first rounders, he had to have just been very, very special.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to be, especially in baseball, just an incredibly special talent to make it out of Canada and be a first rounder.
First rounder, bro.
First, like
polished.
Not.
And you got to be polished, bro. Not like, hey, man, this guy's got a lot of potential. No.
Like this guy's
like Brett
playing
had a lot of
years.
potential. Obviously, played in the league and was extremely successful in the MLB. But like this motherfucker is polished right now and can still get better. Bro, Brett he was fun to be around. I love that. We don't keep in touch, but dude, that summer guy was fucking electric, dude. It was very fun to be in the dugout with him. I would imagine Josh is a similar.
He was a fun guy. Brett Lawrie was to just cheer for. I was young when he was a Blue Jay, but I remember thinking it was pretty cool that like the starting third baseman of the Toronto Blue Jays was a Canadian and like a fiery, cool Canadian that was going to hit bombs and be a first round pick by the Milwaukee Brewers. Like, I don't know. It was
Brett Lawrie.
I enjoyed it.
There's that exact reason, Luke, is the reason that I was given an opportunity by the Blue Jays. That's how the story was told to me, was that when he was just electric across the nation, they called Baseball Canada and they're like, is there anyone else that could potentially make the MLB that is Canadian? Because this guy is a fucking star here. Uh-oh. There he is. We lost this game. This eliminated us from the World Juniors. But nice pick. Cool pick.
That's a good pick.
How about that for you? Huh?
Righty playing first base, yeah? Righty playing first base?
Hit left. Righty playing first, through right, hit left. But the rumor that I had heard was that the manager that had a Team Canada, Greg Hamilton, good friend of mine, respect the living guy, one of the coolest people I've ever played for in any sport, across any sport, was like, well, there's a guy who's got potential. He's nowhere near Brett, but if he committed to it for 5 or 6 years, I think he could do it. But the only problem is he's playing football in Texas right now. I got a call from Jamie Lehman. You'll appreciate this. I was sitting there with a broken foot. I had a cast on my leg. I got a call from Jamie, a Blue Jay scout. I saw on my phone it was a 519 number, and I immediately thought it was like 9 a.m. I immediately thought, which one of my fucking bullshit buddies is pranking me with an unknown phone number right now? So I answered the call and said, what do you want? And he said, it's Jamie Lehman, scout for the Blue Jays. And I'm like, oh, yeah, good one, like trying to figure out whose voice it is.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I got your number from Greg Hamilton. We were hoping to see if you'd be interested in working out for us. And I'm like, holy fuck, this isn't a prank. This is actually some dude from the Blue Jays calling. So anyway, shout out to Brett Lawrie, because he got to my 1 month, which was totally embarrassing, and extended spring was all due to Brett Lawrie being a fucking Canadian legend playing baseball. Can I tell you one of the proudest moments that I've ever had as a friend?
Please do. Yeah, we're getting laughing emojis from Manager Mark.
Manager Mark was in this. I mean, that was a fucking joke. However, as this podcast develops here, I think that you'll hear me bring up stories about my friend group in the Windsor-Essex County area. We don't all live there now, but that's kind of where we're all from. We're in an electric group chat. We've met Pudge. Pudge was one of them. You've met Manager Mark. I mean, you got characters now. Luke Bellis he's got a glimpse. So one of the proudest moments, and this does play a little bit into football, so it can make the pod. So I would do these trips, Luke, and it started in year one. We came, this is a true story. We win the Super Bowl. I'm on cloud 9, right? I go back to Ontario, and we're like, dude, we got to party. What does a fresh 24-year-old who just won the Super Bowl do? We go party. And we throw an absolute rager. Manager Mark gets his suite. We got a nice Caesar's Palace in Windsor, Ontario. And it's a big night. It's a big night. All the boys are out. Yeah.
I have a player's card to that casino, by the way. We'll have to.
I love that. I love that
at some point. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the casino.
It's a big night. Windsor. I love that. And I've got to fly out the next day to do a appearance in Houston. So my parents come to the casino in the morning to pick me up. My mom walks into this huge suite, and there's like random people in there that I don't even know. The place is completely fucking trashed. And my mom is beside herself. She says, you will never have another one of these parties again. And I said, maybe not in Windsor. And from there, the fellas trip was born. Every single year, we would pick a new city and we would all be like, listen, we're going to be that friend group that stays in touch. And we're going to do it by going to a trip. And we all have to go no matter what the circumstance is. So the next year is Toronto. And then ended up being Los Angeles and Vancouver. We did a double trip the one year. Different times because we really enjoyed these trips. Back to fantasy football. Picture
it all comes full circle.
We go to Los Angeles, and a friend of mine who is a tight end on the Seahawks, Cooper Healthfit, is like, yo, you got to go to this restaurant. And this restaurant's called The Nice Guy. And he's like, tell your boys, though, don't take any photos. There's a lot of celebrities and shit in there. Blase. Like, it's not that kind of restaurant. He's like, but trust me, it's a sick vibe. Your boys will love it. He's like, but they can't be starstruck. You follow me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, you get to town, bro. 10 dudes at The Nice Guy. For anyone who's ever been there in LA, you're probably like, Jesus Christ. 10 Windsor boys. We sit down. This would have been 2013, 2015, maybe spring of 2016. And the booth beside us is Kanye West and Russell Westbrook. I kid you not. And I'm like, oh, I mean, bro, we're screwed. We're getting kicked out of here. And I've already given them the chat, like, bro, don't take any photos of anyone.
Yeah, be cool.
Yes. One of the proudest moments of my life. Every one of my boys was like, oh, shit, that's Kanye and Westbrook. Cool. Can we get another shot of whiskey? Nobody gave a shit, dude. And this is, I don't want to say it's a nice establishment, but it's a little upscale, and we're just mucking it up. Like, the waitress comes over and like, do you have shots of Honey Jack? Just like, what the fuck? No, we don't have shots of fucking Honey Jack Daniels. Be like, oh, what about Jameson? And she's like, yeah, we don't carry Jameson here. Fast forward, we end up having just a fucking great night with the boys. And one of the manager / owner of the restaurant comes over and he's like, Luke, man, can you come over here for a second? Come over. I'm like, what's up? He's like, there's only an hour and a half time limit on this table. I'm not making this shit up, Luke. Okay. He's like, I know you're getting ready to leave. He's like, but is there any way I can convince you and your boys to stay for 30 minutes? And I'm like, we're having the time of our lives. We're fucking crushed. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, why? He's like, well, Kylie Jenner and Justin Bieber have the table after you, and they just texted me and said they're running 30 minutes late, and I can't have a table empty for 30 minutes because all the people at the bar will be like, why didn't you give me that table? So if I gave you a couple pizzas, can you stay for 30 extra? And I'm like, boss, how about you just give us a round of 10 shots and we'll call it even? And he starts dying. He's like, what kind of shots do you want? And, of course, at that point, I think we were drinking Bullet Rye. That's all they had there.
Yeah.
Fast forward, guy comes back with the Bullet Rye. He's like, hey, man. He's like, you remind me of my boys in New York. He's like, any chance you want to play in a fantasy football league? We need one more guy.
No way.
I've sworn to secrecy with who's in this league. There is a couple of famous actors in it. It's quite comical. And in this league, I have now played for, I think, 6 to 7 years straight. I've won it twice. I've been in the playoffs every fucking year. The league is not great, and I let them know that. The guys make a lot of questionable decisions. And this year, I won the Reggie season and got the bye. And the best part was my team underperformed this week. So I would have been bounced from the playoffs if it wasn't for the bye. And I know it was a long-winded story, and I'm expecting a note from manager Mark here in the corner telling me to shut the fuck up. That's a true story, and that's the fantasy football league I play in. And we're going to let it, man, and I'm going to win it again. We would try and key any little tell known to mankind on these punts. So first thing that was told our personal protector who calls the cadence is on film, try not to move anything, even when you're talking. Because let's say, this might be weird, dude. This might sound bizarre, but let's say it's like easy. So, and you do like easy, and just do like something like this every time, like as you're talking. These special teams guys will time it, okay? The moment he bumped his arms, 1001, 1002, ball's been snapped. Okay, let's see how the next one. 2001, 2002. We had one year with the PP. I'm not going to tell you who this is because I knew the guy, and he would put his mouth guard in. So our cue was he would yell it and then put his mouth guard in, and it was so if we had a rush on, it was like, boss, the moment he grabs his mouth guard, you're going there, you're going there, you're going to count to 1 and hit it. Just trying to like time up the edge. So the idea on a fake punt, why he's like not moving, is it's like, yo, dude, you don't want to give any sort of tell. It's kind of wild how like that situation will work in that sense.
How much of this league is a game within a game of just like coaches on Wednesdays looking over like every minute detail of like a special teams play like that, saying like if he's putting his mouth guard in at this point, we got to jump here. Like how?
So yes, here's a fun one. I don't know if producer Alec can work this. See if producer Alec can get 2014 Seattle Seahawks blocked punt touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys. We're in Seattle. We lost the game. Doug Baldwin blocks this punt, I believe. See if he can put that boy up. I don't know. That's an obscure one. 2014 season. But as we're about to see it, or if we do see it, we score a touchdown this belly. The entire thing was based off a tell from the long bar. The way he like, you get to the point where like, yo, he do a little wiggle and snap the ball. You know, like the free throws guys do the same thing.
Yep.
It's like, dude, if a long snapper does that, one year we found a tell on a guy that would move his thumb. So like if they were doing a fake cadence, he wouldn't move his thumb. But before he go to snap it, he'd move his thumb, like tap the thing and snap it. And it was like, yo, everybody on the line, the moment boss man moves his thumb, ball's coming out. Like when we're rushing, go for it. And usually you don't call rush if it's 4th and 4. Because if the guys, you know, you don't want to give the first down up. Where now all of a sudden it's 4th and 9, you know, 4th and 7. You're sitting there, maybe they're on their own 30. And it's like, now's the time.
Let's go get them.
Or close to the logo, same thing, because it's like the reality is they'll most likely be a fair catch. And you go get them.
And producer Alec, as he always does, has pulled up the Doug Baldwin. I believe it was the Doug Baldwin block punt clip. If that's what we're referencing here.
I missed that. Really? He's got it? I didn't even see that in the chat.
I can't
play that shit. Play that shit.
You doubt this guy. He's got it. He's got it. He's got it so much he's not playing it right now. Here it is.
Okay. Can we rewind it a bit? Can we rewind it one bit?
It's got to
pause it right at the beginning. Right? Okay, so you can see it here. So he actually out in the vice. The vice is so you got the gunners on punt that are out wide, causing all the disruption. And a lot of times in the NFL, you'll have. So again, I was a wing guy, but you'd have a 6, 7, or 8-man punt box. So basically, how you count this is if you're playing the wing, so not the personal protector. For the Cowboys here, it's 84 on the left and 89. You would have the widest guy. The next guy has number 2. The next guy has number 3. It's very easy, to count when there's only 3 guys. And theoretically, you should be all good. You have an extra guy here. So you call it you call the situation as the PP, and you see 2 guys blocking your gunner. Doug was one of the 2. And we had a tell on the long snapper here. So as soon as he did something, we had timed it out to be like, yo, when he does this, you're going to sprint in. It'll be too late for them to adjust their count. And you're going to come on a direct angle. No one will be blocking you. No one will account for you because they've already locked in their count. You timed it up perfect. If you go too early, they're going to pause the cadence. And you should be untouched. It'll be very bang, bang, but we think you can get there. You can't really tell what it is here, and I don't want to sewer this guy. I think he's done playing. He's actually Canadian. But boom, we timed it up. Play that shit, producer Alec. Timed it up. They didn't see how he's unblocked. Boom, see ya. Touchdown. Wow. Mikey Mo, scoop and score.
Thank you. 10-0.
And again, so like something like that was based on a complete tell we had on the long snapper.
What week was that
a movement. We lost this game. I want to say it was week 3. 4 maybe.
So early in the season. So is that something that like a long snap, like is that something that the Cowboys would pick up on that you guys had to read? And it's like,
Correct.
we need
Yeah,
you
I'm
to
pretty
not
sure. And
have
I think
this
we
go
might have
anymore.
told them afterwards.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. League's kind of like that. Like, how did you do that? And be like, we had to tell.
Well, when you're that good, you go up to the teams after the game. You're like, hey, by the way, like
we lost that game. We lost that game at home with a punt block TD. That's not a good stat right there.
No, that's not good. Up 10-0.
I believe the next week Percy Harvin was traded too.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll have to get into that.
Producer Alec, if you're still with us, can you pull up the picture that I sent you earlier this evening?
Oh gosh. Oh wow. This sounds like a clandestine move.
Ooh. And, Luke, I'm just wondering, what could you, for those of you that aren't watching, this is a picture of Luke Willson from the year 2019 speaking with a man wearing a jacket that reads Madden Ratings Performance Adjuster.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you want to know?
What could you two possibly be talking about?
So this photo was taken at the Super Bowl. I was on Radio Row. Dude, the suit looks good there though, doesn't it?
Oh,
Come on now. Give me some love on that. All right. So I am not a Madden guy. I was a FIFA guy. I don't play much video games anymore. FIFA, and then I did play some Fortnite with the boys. Shout out the boys.
Shout out Mark. Shout out Pudge.
Yep. Another guy named Slim Reaper. We'll get into Slim Reaper later on down the road. Slim Sippin', Slim Drippin', Slim Roethlisberger. Anyways, that's coming down the road.
On the all-time gaming channel coming to a Twitch.tv near you someday.
Yeah, these bad guys filming some stuff, and I'm like, boss, I gotta ask, man. Am I cutting out right now? I got a little Wi-Fi thing in my corner. There we go. We're back.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
These Madden guys come around, and I started asking them, like, how do you judge the ratings? Like, how do you do these ratings, if you will? And you can't really tell here, but my man is not a big football guy. So what they actually told us, which was very fascinating, was when they have these performance adjusters like this guy, they know very, very little about football. They don't want any sort of bias going into these ranks. So they'll go in and be like, yo, this guy knows nothing, doesn't know any names, doesn't know who's who. And like, we're going to give you like, here are their 40 times, here are their stats, here's some film to watch, here's like the balls they caught, go. And they just give guys rankings. And what happens is, I think for the most part, they're somewhat accurate. But at the end of the day, there's 1,500 NFL players. Like, they're not going to be completely spot on. And a lot of it is very, very subjective to whatever they watched. So one of the things that was funny was I always had a very high speed rating because I ran a fast 40 for a tight end. So I was younger. I was like, everyone would be like, bro, I just run you down the seam in Madden. Everyone would be saying that. I'm like, I don't play Madden, but I got that all the time. Bro, I play with you in Madden all the time because your speed's like an 88. And it's a crazy matchup, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thanks, everyone. Like, dude, you're the best player to play with in Madden. And I'm like, okay, but I had been on 40 time coming into the league. Well, that really carried me to be a decent Madden player for a long time because later on we got Jimmy and I became more of a blocking guy for the Seahawks. My supply went down, but in the adjuster's mind, it's like, well, we had him at an 88 last year. What are we going to put him down to now? We're not going to put him down to a 75.
Yeah.
So I always stayed kind of high, and it was kind of nice because then I have a bunch of kids be like, bro, we love playing with you in Madden. So I was probably talking to my guy saying, what's up, bro? I appreciate the speed rating.
Please don't watch me run today.
No, I'd tell him, like, boss, I might even be faster, but I love the speed rating. I'm trying to love him up. These guys come at their heads like, bro, you got to give me a better blah, blah, blah rating. I'm going, kill them with kindness, baby. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Remember me. Next time you see me make a play, oh, yeah, it's a guy talking to the Super Bowl. Good guy. Maybe I'll bump him a couple points.
So do they just come to, like, training camp and practice and stuff and just watch stuff?
Think
or like,
some
or,
of them
or do they go,
I'm not
they go
sure.
to games?
They try and make them very, like, what's the, like, when you can't see someone, like not hidden,
discreet?
but Yes, because
Bill
guys,
Belichick filming practices in the early 2000s. Yeah,
dude, guys will. Wow, what a great. Love that. We'll get into that one day. Guys will legitimately be upset, like big mad, and we'll call these dudes out, like, motherfucker, what watching? Put my shit higher.
And did you guys ever do any like weird stuff like that with like big boys or any D tackles getting touches at the 1 yard line?
Not that I can really recall. The one that I think sticks out the most to me, which is kind of a funny story, big moment in Seahawk playoff history, was we threw a fake field goal to Gary Gilliam against the Packers in the NFC Championship. Little backstory to this one. So we come in, we're playing the Packers, NFC Championship, trip to the Super Bowl, and our special teams coach, who is incredible, comes in. He's like, hey, boys, hopefully we don't got to use it, but I've got a fake, and it's 100%er. He's like, it's 100%er, it's going to hit. And we weren't a big like special teams fake team. Back then, we really didn't need to do it that often. But if he saw something he really liked, he'd put it in. And we go up, and John Ryan, Canadian, was our holder, our punter. And he says, hey, man, whichever side AJ Hawk's on is the side that we're throwing this to. Because for some reason, they don't line up correctly. They never do. And if you watch this, again, I'm trying to articulate this without throwing anybody under the bus here. If you watch this, AJ Hawk is put in an impossible situation. He either rushes to make the tackle or he plays man coverage. And the thing people didn't realize with John Ryan, shout out great Canadian. Here it is. Here it is. But I want to pause it. Can you pause it for a sec? Can we rewind it? So
here we are.
As you can see, it was AJ Hawk and some other guy. It's kind of tough for me to tell, but I'm actually supposed to get this ball. So we were joking all week. I believe we called it the Pam Anderson play or something like that because Pam Anderson's Canadian. It was going to be Canadian to Canadian. So what we had here was you're going to see the wing, which is Gary Gilliam, go. This was completely, it was like 80% of the time AJ Hawk lines up over here and 20% he lines up on the other side. So we're going to put Luke to the side where we want him to go. Unless it's the 20%er, Luke's going to catch a ball here, and that's why we did the Canadian call there. But what you're going to see here, and you'll see this happen in 1 second, John Ryan has the ability to trigger. If AJ triggers, John Ryan has the ability to run. So basically, again, we're putting AJ in just a lose-lose situation where if he comes after John, we're going to just dink it over the top to Gary Gilliam. And if he doesn't, he's going to run for the first down. Putting things in perspective here, notice the time.
Yeah.
In the scoreboard. This was kind of like the first thing. I mean, we all know what happens in this game. For those of you who don't, it ends up being a wild comeback. We get an onside kick, et cetera, et cetera. We had 0 points with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. And our guy, Snots, has his nuts in a wheelbarrow and calls a fake field goal. Okay, and then when we get out there, it's supposed to be to a tight end and ends up going to an offensive tackle. And now we can roll it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So they rush both guys from the edge, and you see there he goes. AJ started to take if you run that back, he starts to take the runner, which is John Ryan. And
right there.
That leaves Gilliam good to go. And again, John Ryan could really scoot for a punter.
And nice little touch there, eh?
I mean, dude, John Ryan was a great athlete. I hope he hears this. He was a very, very good athlete. I mean, just a Canadian legend all around. After he was done playing for us, went back to CFL just because he was that much of a goat. It was like, man, I'll just kind of, after my prolific NFL career, I'm just going to go back home to Saskatchewan and kick for the boys, man. I mean, the guy's an absolute Canadian legend. That's all I can say.
It's odd hearing you say nice things about a kicker, John.
Punter. I like punters, not kickers.
Okay, you like punters, not kickers, but that's an important
yes
designation to make.
I grew up a diehard Lions fan. Diehard. I mean, I remember being a kid Sunday morning sitting on the couch in LaSalle, Ontario, waiting for Herman Moore, Barry Sanders.
Restore the roar.
Restore the roar, baby. Scott Mitchell was the quarterback. Then it became Charlie Batch, then Joey Harrington. You name them, I was that kid. Deep on the roster when I'm like 10. Okay. And nobody before Matt Stafford could stick around in Detroit. Not because they weren't good enough, because the organization stunk. They had no coaches. They had no support. They had known anything. You know, you look at the Browns. The Browns were, I would say, kind of 1A and 1B when it comes to what not to do with them and the Lions. And everyone's seen the meme of the guy with all the different quarterbacks. The Lions were somewhat of the same way. I mean, their first-round picks just never seemed to pan out. I mean, it was big bad. And when guys got to free agency, they got out of there. And the two guys, other than Matt, that were generational talents, retired early because they couldn't fucking send it. Barry Sanders and Megatron. I mean, these are two of the best players to ever touch a football.
Yeah.
Think about that shit.
I've never been able to wrap my head around an organization being so, I'll choose my words carefully, not run well enough that two of the best players to just like ever play the sport were like, you know what, I'm just gonna quit. Like, don't even trade me.
I remember, yes, Luke, I was a kid. I was a kid when Barry did it. I had the Barry Nike shoes. The only thing I wanted for Christmas. Okay, I dressed up as a guy for Halloween. And I remember being the most confused kid on planet Earth. Like, what? 6 weeks into me playing for Detroit under Matt Patricia, I remember sitting in that goddamn auditorium in Allen Park thinking, oh, damn, bro, I know exactly why Barry Sanders left this shit. I can't believe we didn't leave earlier. I mean, it's just a fact, bro. There was no hope. We had no hope. Every single part of the football aspect of Detroit made it more difficult, which it was a very, very tough pill for me to swallow. And then when I realized midway through the season that we weren't actually trying to win, made it even more difficult. And it's funny because I don't tell too many people this, but I actually turned down a 3-year deal to go to Carolina for a lot more money. Okay. I was sitting on my driveway in LaSalle, Ontario, and I called my agent because I had a 3-year deal to go to Carolina or 1 year to go to Detroit. Okay. In Carolina, I had Greg Olson. So in my head, I'm like, listen, I was a starting tight end in the NFL on a team that lost Super Bowl on the half-yard line. We trade for Jimmy Graham, OG, the homie. Shout out Jimmy Graham. I now become a second-string tight end that really did a lot of the grunt work for that offense for 3 years. Now, Jimmy's hurt for a bit, so I was kind of in and out, starting quite a bit. But I was like, dude, I don't want to go to Carolina and still be a backup. I got to go and ball out. Well, went to Detroit. I thought I was blatantly lied to on what the plan was for the year. And Greg Olson broke his foot and didn't play 2 games that season, I think. So, great decision by me. Again, my fault. But that's why it's tough when, like, if Detroit won a Super Bowl, I would feel like I got punched in the stomach. That's the truth about that. And it's tough because I was I mean, I bleeded Honolulu blue and silver when I was a youngster. Bleeded.
Yeah, I mean, you said you dressed up as Barry Sanders for Halloween. I was too worried to ask if it was like a problematic, went the full 9 yards, or if there was no makeup that went with the costume. But I chose not to ask that question.
I was like 7 or 8, so don't worry. It was very politically correct.
Oh,
there's me and my sister, bro.
Look at this.
Oh.
No way.
Bro, you thought I was kidding, man. Nobody liked the Lions more than me. And now I'm not sure if anybody hates the Lions more than me. But we can get more into that as the podcast grows.
That's what it seems. How did we get this picture so quickly? How did that happen?
Dude, producer Alex is goated.
This guy doesn't sleep.
We had a big stadium. Rice, we used to call it Historic Rice Stadium. I'm not sure if that's the actual name, but we hosted a Super Bowl there. So it was good in the historic sense, but it was bad because it held 75,000 and we only pulled about 15. So it made it seem like there were 12 people in the stands. Okay. But so we had to cover the end zones, that whole thing. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
So we go and all that shit. Exactly. So our head coach, who's a very nice man, goes to one of our strength coaches and goes, "Hey, you see that guy up there?" And there's a dude, okay, in the press box with a red hat on. In our press box, we had the double deck. Again, it was a big stadium. Maybe producer Alec can throw up a fucking historic Rice Stadium shot in a sec. So there's a guy up there, and you can see him. Everyone's like, and he'd be like, "Guys, you see somebody up there?" And it's like all we saw was like a little head with a hat. A little head with the hat, right? So he goes, and one assistant strength coaches goes up there. It's obviously a ways up to the top deck. And he goes over there, and Coach Bale, who's our head coach, keeps like, "I'm pretty sure that's a person up there. What's he doing? Like, never, he's not in here." Sure as shit, he's making a big scene. He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" He didn't really swear, but he probably dropped an F-bomb here. And we're all stretching, warming up for practice. We're like, "Oh yeah, that looks like a human." So strength coach gets in the press box, and we're far away. I'm trying to paint this picture. We're far away. And all of a sudden, the red hat guy gets up and starts sprinting like he's like it's a real human, right? And we're like, "What the fuck?" Like someone's actually spying on our shit. And they're like wrestling each other, and he's like trying to dodge them and get out of the way. And we're like, "Dude, this is nuts." And like now the whole team's watching. Okay. And it's our strength coach, who's a huge meathead. We're like, "Dude, this is fucking crazy." So the guy puts after the wrestling thing, the guy puts a juke move on him and scoots by our coach out of the way. So now our coach is chasing after him. And then right at the door, he like catches them. Okay. And we're like, "Oh," and we're all like, dude, you can imagine a college football team.
Yeah.
We're going fucking, there's historic Rice Stadium, and that's the press box. You can see how high it is, all right?
At the top.
That's actually a big crowd for us right there. This must have been a big game.
Full barn.
So, yeah, that's a lot for us. Shit, this might have been against Houston just because Houston traveled really well, 10 minutes down the road. So it was, yeah, that makes more sense because we didn't, unless we played Houston, we weren't getting that many people. So the dude gets out there.
Games.
I appreciate that, Luke. And they get another tussle at the door, and all of a sudden the door opens, and we lose sight of him for like a second. And you see our strength coach pick this fucking guy up and throw him over the ledge. Oh, bro. So now all of a sudden we were like, "Holy shit, he just fucking killed him." I mean, you saw the thing. He picked him up and threw him over the fucking ledge and like on the other side. Okay. And he looks down and does like palms up. Like he's like, "Oh shit." Like I just dumped this fucking guy. It might have been. I don't know. I'm not good with feet, but I'm talking 200-300 foot fall to straight concrete. Okay. And we're all like, "Bro, did we just witness a fucking murder?" And long story short, the whole thing was planned. I mean, dude, I was tripping. I'm like, "He's fucking killed him." They planned the whole thing, and they put a fucking dummy with a red hat laying on the ground. So right at the door when they started tussling, the actual human who was in on it laid down, and he picked up the dummy and threw the dummy over the fucking ledge. Dude, one of the greatest trolls of all time.